person. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, great friends. What is happening? Today is Wednesday. It is September 21st. And this is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man coming to you from the 7 Mile Casino Studios. 7milecasino.com is the web address. They're only 7 minutes south of downtown San Diego. And with all the energy that is going on right now around the team, the park, the playoff push, a lot of energy. So if you're heading down south, you can keep going 7 minutes. If you're heading up north on your way home, you stop on the way. If you're looking to have a good time, play blackjack, poker, table games, you want to go to Sammy's Restaurant and Bar, all in a smoke-free environment on the Bay of Chula Vista, come on down. And good luck. It's 7 Mile Casino, 7milecasino.com. All right. It is Wednesday. We're just getting onto the airwaves of 1090. We're just getting onto the stream of YouTube and Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Amazon Music, and iHeart. And tonight, you'll catch up to us on television on Channel 4 San Diego. It's also Channel 4 Santa Barbara. And it's Channel 118 in Orange County in LA if you are a Cox or Spectrum Cable subscriber. So wherever you are, that's where we are. Follow us on all the social platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Again, you got a phone, you got us. What's going on today, everybody? I will say this. You win 3 games against Arizona, and then here comes St. Louis. And St. Louis is going to win their division. They're going into the postseason. And the energy around the Cardinals is not just about what their postseason plans are, but it's about Albert Pujols last night. There were a lot of Cardinal fans in Petco Park on their feet, hoping to see Albert Pujols do something great, which I don't know if you guys watched the telecast last night on Bally Sports, but they showed a video of Albert Pujols' first home run against the Padres in 2001. And my girlfriend's son said, "Where are they playing?" And I said, "That's when the Padres played at Qualcomm Stadium." And this kid went, "The Padres played in Qualcomm Stadium?" He had no exposure at all because Albert Pujols hit his first home run against the Padres. This kid wasn't even born. He wasn't even thought of back then. But a lot of energy last night, a great win for the Padres. And man, if they can take 2 out of 3 or even sweep the Cardinals, the energy and the momentum, which I believe has already picked up, will really, click into 5th gear here. So good win last night. Grande, Brown Man, good afternoon. Alex, you said you wanted to see more consistency. You wanted to see a winning streak. You got 4 straight. What do you say, man?
Exactly what we've been asking for. I mean, that's just what I've been asking for. And now there's, you always hear about magic number with other teams. This is their magic number. They need 6. They need 8 to clinch a playoff spot. Guess what? We need 10. What does that mean, guys? What the hell does magic number 10 mean? In context-wise, this is how simple it is for the Padres to get into the playoffs this season. Go 7-7. Then the Brewers have to go 12-2.
Well, that doesn't look like that's happening.
Exactly. There's some sort of combination of winning 5 or losing 5 or whatever with the Brewers, and you're in. Now, the Phillies have lost 5 in a row.
Yep.
Shout out Phillies.
Yep. Way to go.
Last
night they got bombed by Toronto.
They got motorboated all over that.
Motorboated. That's right. That's the correct phrase. I want to make sure that's right. Because anybody who thinks it's boat race, you got it all wrong, pal. It's motorboated.
Got it all wrong.
Right.
On this show, it's motorboated.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very encouraging to see, and hopefully they can keep it going. As far as Pujols goes, totally forgot about it. Totally forgot about it until he came up to bat yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, forgot about that. He's 2 away.
One of the craziest things that I can think of when I think about Albert Pujols and playing against the Padres, I don't remember exactly what year it was. I'm going to guess probably 2008, 9, 10, somewhere in that range. The Padres had a pitcher. A lot of you guys will remember him. His name was Chris Young, big, tall guy, like 6'10". And I think he played at Princeton. That was kind of his calling card. He was big and tall, and he was an Ivy League guy. And does anybody remember this, where Chris Young pitches a ball to Albert Pujols? Pujols hits a line drive right back at him and
Mhm.
hits him right in the face. I mean,
I
smashes
didn't
him.
know it was. I didn't recall it being Pujols doing that. I
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember like my daughter was with me at the game because we were up in the old 1090 suite at the time, which, shout out to Bill Hagan. Yo, man, I think we need like a company suite now. I think we need a suite at Petco Park. Anyway, Pujols hits his ball, and my daughter's like, "Dad, I want cotton candy." And we were up in the suite, so I was trying to like reach over and like talk to the cotton candy dude. And she's like, "Come on, I want." I'm like, "Would you give me a second?" Pujols is up, and he's facing Chris Young, and dude, he hits this ball, and it smashes Chris Young right in the face, blasts his face, blows it up. I mean, he walked off the field that night.
Mhm.
But that was a crazy thing I remember about Pujols, and it's hard to believe that 21 years ago, he hit his first home run against the Padres, and he's pushing now for 700 home runs. Think about this guy from the Cardinals to the Angels, got paid, didn't really succeed individually or really from a team standpoint. He was no different than Mike Trout or Ohtani, got paid, put up numbers, didn't win. And then last year, little revival by going to the Dodgers.
Oh, me and Browner buried him.
But now, not only is he back with the Cardinals, like to finish his career, it's so much more than just a symbol. It's so much more than just ceremonial. He's actually an important contributor to the Cardinals. So, really great that we're getting to see the end of Pujols' career here in San Diego. And I don't know if you guys saw Trevor Hoffman last night,
Yeah.
the big surfboard that he got him, which was really, I thought, super cool. And Molina as well, which was the much shorter board. But I like that ceremony last night. All right, Browner, what do you have to say for yourself, man? You've been calling for a Padre winning streak. You've been positive all season long. How you feeling today, Team Juice?
Don't give a damn about no Albert Pujols, man. Gone somewhere with that. What is important to me is somebody in a Padre jersey. And did you see Soto last night?
Yeah. I mean, how about his first at bat in the first inning? They shifted everybody to the right, and he went down the third base line. That is the Juan Soto. That's the Juan Soto that was advertised before he got here. That's some Tony Gwynn hitting right there.
And so, like I told y'all before, he gonna come out this slump. He gonna come out, and it appear he out. He out. The man free. Free Soto. Soto free. Because he producing now. Walks, RBIs, precision hits against the Cardinals.
Is it a coincidence that all of a sudden the Padres are good when he's good? I don't think so, bro. That's what we're clamoring for, man. Like, he's the key.
So now it appears that this boat is going in the right direction. Win number 4. Great pitching performance by Clevenger last night. So this is what I've been telling y'all. Ups and downs, but now we at the end of the season and we out of time. It's time to lock in, time to focus, time to cross that line. They ready? They locked in, they crossing that line.
You see this phrase that
y'all welcome. Y'all welcome.
Wrote on the whiteboard.
And who wrote it?
Jake Cronenworth wrote on the whiteboard in Arizona.
Show it to us.
Burn the ships. It's kind of what Browner's saying. There's only one way. It's only one way, and that's forward. You burn those ships, you forget about them because we're only going one way.
Now,
burn
those
their
ships.
Mantra.
Is that like a Game of Thrones thing? Is it like a House of the Dragon kind of a deal? Because I'm gonna tell you something right now. I watched the latest episode of House of the Dragon last night, and I'm confused as to what's going on that show. I'm a little lost, and unfortunately for me, I can't seem to figure out how to turn on the
why do you do this on publicly?
Well, you know how like
that you can't turn closed captions
yeah,
on?
now listen, a lot of times people have their closed captions on and then they're like, gosh darn it, I can't figure out how to turn off the closed captions. Me, I can't figure out how to turn on the closed captions, and I feel like watching House of the Dragon, it would probably be beneficial if I could figure out how to turn on the closed captions, because there are some things that the way they speak the language of English, I can't understand. And then there's some.
See, I figured by now,
yeah.
Like, haven't we seen enough Game of Thrones where you can pick up that English dialect like right away? Like, I feel like I'm very familiar and can understand that. It's not a language, but that dialect, I can catch everything.
Yeah. Well,
as opposed to I'm watching Peaky Blinders right now.
Yeah.
That caption's on right away. I have no idea what they're saying half the time.
Great show.
There's the one scene. By the way, I've heard Peaky Blinders is very
Great
good.
show.
I don't
Great
watch it,
show.
but I've heard good things.
One of the best things on Netflix.
There's a scene in House of the Dragon. I'm not going to give it away because I know a lot of people haven't caught up yet, but there's a scene where the guy who's kind of like affiliated with the guy who's going to be the husband and the knight who is protecting the bride, the princess, where they have an interaction together. And I couldn't quite gather the last part of what was said before the whole big scene that happens. Again, I'm not going to blow it for anybody, okay? But I figure he must have said something that set the night on. There's a lot of
The
confusion
way they
for
shot
me.
it, the way they shot this episode, the ending of it
Yeah.
was incredibly confusing.
Oh,
So
good. Oh,
when
good.
the because it just happened so quickly,
Uh-huh.
you know. But then I watched if you let the credits roll,
Yeah.
they give you a preview.
Oh, I never
of next
watched the
week.
preview. Yeah, I just
They
turned it
give you,
off. Yeah.
and then they give you a behind the scenes of the episode. It's like 5 minutes long,
Oh.
and it made way more sense when the creators were like talking about it.
Oh, okay. I should
I
go
think
watch
that's
that.
why yeah. If you let the credits roll, you watch the preview, and then there's a behind the thrones or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like 5 minutes long.
Okay.
And they explained it, and I kind of caught on to it as it was happening, but it happened so quickly that I was like, what? Wait, what?
Dude, I went
But
back
then-
and watched it again. Like I went back, I
Mhm.
rewound like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Basically just told the guy, like, I know your secret, you know mine, let's protect each other's secrets, and it kind of set him off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But something happened even before that when there was this disruption of the ceremony, which I wasn't clear on.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'm not gonna blow it for everybody. And Browner's not watching it yet. So
Yeah. I have made it a point to watch it as soon as I can because I figure we're gonna approach the subject,
Yeah.
So I want to be prepared.
Mhm.
And I really like the show.
Yeah, me
I really
too.
genuinely do like the show. And next week you're gonna be even more confused since you didn't watch the preview.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but you're gonna be very confused next week
Okay.
if you didn't watch the preview.
Okay, no, I'm gonna go back and
Because
watch it again.
there's a big thing that happens with the cast, not really with the show, with the cast particularly, that from episode 5 to episode 6 that has been announced. People knew this was coming, but if you don't know that it's coming, it's going to be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What's happening?
I don't know what's happening. I do not know what's happening. And Brown,
Yeah.
are you ever going to join us, man? I mean, it's only 5 episodes in, which for you would be great because you could binge it and catch up to us.
Get on the ship before we burn it.
Yeah, we're like the idiots that are sitting around on Sunday nights waiting for this thing.
I was told that there are black people in the show.
Right.
There is.
Until we see what happens after the new cast, I will not watch. Because I need to make sure black people make the transition to the next.
Oh, they're still there for this. They're still there for what I'm talking about.
Listen, but because of what was said, made a very good point. There are black people in this. There are no black people in the actual Game of Thrones show. So where did they go? What happened?
Yeah.
Clearly they were annihilated. I don't want to see that.
If you paid close attention to Game of Thrones or have rewatched it 3 times from beginning to end like me, you know what happens in this show, unfortunately. Like,
What
I know
happened?
the ending of the show.
Spill the beans. What happens?
No, I wouldn't do that to people.
Spill the
They don't
beans about
know.
what happened on Game of Thrones?
Game
No.
of Thrones tells you what happens to the Targaryen family and this family in particular. Like, it tells you in the show multiple times, like, what happens with this, with what we're watching now.
Oh, they get run out. I remember that, don't they?
I mean, it's like
'Cause she's a cast off.
it's like
the
it's like
dragon
Breaking
lady's a
Bad.
cast off.
You know Saul Goodman. You know he's alive when you're watching Better Call Saul.
He never died.
You
So
you know Gus Fring's still alive. You know, like, what characters are still alive. It doesn't necessarily ruin this show, but you know that the consequences of their actions are not necessarily fatal.
All right. Well, listen, speaking of still alive, all right, let's bring it home here for a second. So the Padres, this whole sidetrack conversation was about burn the ships.
Yes.
And that's the Cronenworth comment
Correct.
on the whiteboard. You said that was written when, Alex?
In Arizona. I don't know particularly what day,
Okay.
but in Arizona.
Okay, burn the ships. And that's Cronenworth's message to the team. I don't necessarily, there's got to be more
Kind of like, I
context.
think it was explained like, don't look back. Don't worry about where we're coming from. Only worry about where we're going.
Mhm.
So, like, we were on the beach. We're going forward. Don't worry about the ships anymore.
Well, you said it earlier, and Browner, you've been calling for Juan Soto to break out, and Alex, you said it. You know, as Soto has broken out, the Padres have gone on this nice winning streak. We've all been waiting for it. You know, we knew what he was before he got here. Then we saw what he became in the process of, you know, the 40 or so game transition. And now Soto is apparently like either getting comfortable or the energy is picking up, or maybe it was Bob Melvin who last week was like, dude, there's no fight in these guys. I don't know what their problem is. Maybe it was calling these guys out in public, but show everybody the numbers here for Juan Soto in the last 4 games, because as he has gotten hot, so have the Padres. They've won the last 4 games. And Alex, take us through what Juan Soto has done.
Yeah, he's hitting 467, 3 extra base hits, 1 home run, 6 RBIs, scored 3 runs. His on-base percentage is at .555. So still walking, but now he's getting hits on top of that and bringing guys in.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. That's pretty good. And so now here we go again. Another game against the Cardinals, 2 more games against the Cardinals, and we're now down to the 14 remaining games of the season. And like you said, we looked at this yesterday. Milwaukee's, their last 9 games of the season, they're home. The Padres' last 9 games of the season, the Padres are home. Philadelphia's final 9 games of the season are all on the road, and Philadelphia has lost, is it 4 or is it 5 straight games now? 5 straight. So Padres are getting hot at the right time. Phillies are falling apart at the right time for the Padres. And, the schedule for these teams, they're not easy going forward. And
did you see who was tossing up the big fat L for the Brewers yesterday?
Did not see that.
You know who.
Let me just play it for you, Scott.
All right.
You know who. Our spy.
Lindor hits one in the air to deep left field. Back goes Yelich to the warning track. Looking up. It's out of here! Francisco Lindor with a grand slam to put the Mets in front.
Did you catch who that was?
Is that the former Padre closer that was traded from the Padres to the Brewers in exchange for Josh Hader?
That is correct. And did you notice what inning he was pitching in?
Not the 9th.
The 7th.
Not the 8th.
Yeah. And they asked him, what's going on? He's like, I'm throwing everything I can at that area, and I just can't figure it out.
Wow. How about that? Makes that trade look smart now, more smart.
Well, yeah, as long as Hader keeps doing what he's doing,
right.
It's looking good. But Rogers seems to just have, he has an outing that's good. He has a couple outings that are bad. So, yeah, that one seemed to work out like you just said.
Yeah.
So here we are, crushing it. Our closer slamming the door. We ready to give Preller his credit again, or what?
No, dude, we got to finish this.
Dude,
finish
the job, bro.
Why do you like to?
Finish
Why do you
the
like
job,
to,
dude?
You like,
what is the job?
Victory
finished?
parades. You like victory parades for the smallest thing. No,
I'm just telling. Listen,
big picture, dog. Big picture.
I'm just asking you. I'm just asking the 2 people who said they wouldn't care until All-Star break, who are now we're in September. We're in competitive baseball. They now care. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah,
of course.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah,
I'm a day one. I'm what the kids call a day one. Okay, I'm a day one.
Okay.
Y'all just got here. I'm just trying to fill out the questionnaire to make sure I know where y'all at.
One person on Instagram yesterday, and it hurt me to my soul. It was just one. That said, I guess I've missed some comments before, but he's like I've said, Browner is the baseball mind on this show.
Thank you.
I was like,
thank you. Thank
Bro,
you.
That hurt me
you.
so much. Like I don't listen, I read comments. I've read a million comments from every sort of fan that we've ever talked about. That one hurt me. Browner is the baseball guy on this show?
Clearly, bro. I'll be nailing my Padre takes.
Why? Just because? Why? I mean, I did put a nice clip of you from Monday's show about how hey, you told you just relax. There's ups and downs, blah, blah, blah. And that's where the comment came from. And I was like, man, whoever that was, I forget his name right now. That hurt.
Well, no, it's good actually. It's good balance. Because most of the comments are like Browner's takes are ridiculous. He makes me turn off the show
again because of Browner. Yeah.
Right. And yet there's the Padre fan base out there that knows that Browner has been Mr. Positivity all season long. So
look where we at, baby. Look where we at.
All right. Hey, listen, we got a great show coming up today. Chris Rose will be here. And Chris Rose is going to talk to us about Padres. He's going to talk about the Dodgers. He's going to talk about the playoff chase. He's going to get deep into baseball. So Chris Rose is going to stop by. Yesterday, a lot of positive feedback on a couple of stories. One was Coach Fisher's appearance yesterday. We got a lot of positive feedback on that. And the second thing that we got a lot of positive feedback on, and I don't know if I'd call it positive, it was just sort of people laughing at me, was the whole story I was telling yesterday about white clout versus sweet clout at the Cleveland Browns game on Sunday.
That's a good story, dude. That's a really good story.
So, look, we got a great show. we're going to get into, obviously, the excitement around the Padres and this 4-game winning streak and playing against teams that are headed towards the playoffs and winning these kinds of games. And hopefully the energy continues. I would like to just say to everybody to support our sponsors, as always. I'll start off this afternoon by mentioning Mazda of Escondido, MazdaofEscondido.com. Alan is the general manager at Mazda of Escondido. And if you drive by car dealerships now, you're going to notice how few brand new cars they have on the lot. Used to be you drive past a dealership, be like, man, they got like thousands of cars out there. There are a lot of dealerships right now that can't get new cars. So what happens is you go in, you have to order your vehicle, and then you have to wait until it finally shows up. Somehow, Alan at Mazda of Escondido has got a brand new lineup of 2022 Mazdas and 23 Mazdas. He'll give you a top dollar for your trade-in. He'll buy your used car outright from you if you're not looking to trade one in. And he's got enough brand new vehicles that you'll go driving off in your brand new Mazda that day. So ask for Alan. He's the general manager. He'll get you all set up, and he's going to get you the great friends treatment, which you deserve. You're a great friend. Okay, let's get rolling. We got a lot of Padres stuff to get to. We got a ton of NFL stuff we want to get to. And who the hell knows what else is going to happen on today's show? This is Kaplan and Crew from the 7 Mile Casino Studios.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. only on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the mightier1090.com.
The 2022 San Diego Loyal season continues. Live on Your View and YourView.com. Watch your San Diego Loyal take on Las Vegas Lights FC Saturday, September 24th at 7 p.m. Support the San Diego Loyal as they continue their bid for the 2022 USL Championship. Las Vegas Lights FC versus the San Diego Loyal, Saturday at 7 on Your View.
I thought I was okay. I had a degree, I had work experience. I should be able to provide for my kids. But they're just things that you don't plan on in life.
My husband got laid off, and we are a family of 5.
My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I would ask the doctors, what can I do? And they would just say, just make sure she's eating. Our lives just changed completely. Thank God that we always had a plate of food.
Main streets are the heart of our communities, where we connect with our neighbors, support local businesses, and share new adventures. Main Street Living celebrates all of this, bringing you uplifting stories with guests from across the country and your community. From our street to your street. Main Street Living, Mondays at 9 on Your View.
Main Street Living celebrates diverse abilities in partnership with Home of Guiding Hands, supporting the special needs community for over 55 years.
We use our phones to order our food, catch a ride, share our stories, and so much more. SDCCU made banking from your mobile device easy, too. You can do so much. Get up-to-date account balances, check on pending deposits, transfer money, deposit checks, and more. Safely and securely, all through the convenience of your smartphone. SDCCU. It's not big bank banking, it's better.
Hunger is a year-round problem. The San Diego Food Bank and our North County Food Bank chapter provide food assistance at locations throughout the county. We need your help. Host a food drive, volunteer, or donate online. Thank you for making a difference.
Welcome back. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, John Browner, and Alex Padilla.
right, everybody. Chris Rose is about to join us here on Kaplan and Crew from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. I was in his hometown this weekend. As a matter of fact, I sent him a tweet because I was there at the Cleveland Browns game on Sunday and spent the whole weekend in Cleveland. And by the way, Browner, I'm telling you right now, it's a very easy, natural thing to do to just beat up on cities like Cleveland, particularly when you've never been there before. I'm here to tell you right now, Cleveland's great.
Man,
I like Cleveland.
Not when you're from Chicago.
I wasn't there during the winter. I wasn't there to feel the wind off the lake. But I'm just telling you right now, I had a great weekend in Cleveland, and I loved it. How about that?
Good for you, man. I'm glad you had a good time there. I ain't doing it. There's more time for you. More space for you in Cleveland. Well, I ain't going to be me. Chicagoans don't necessarily go to Cleveland. That's the step down for us.
Okay, whatever you say, man. Go check out Cleveland and let me know. Give me a review. Here's Chris Rose.
I'll do that.
Here's Chris Rose, Cleveland's number one son. Here he is. Chris Rose back on Kaplan and Crew. Hey, Chris, how are you?
I didn't know that you were working with Joakim Noah now. We all remember that little clip. Yeah. See, here's the difference between Cleveland people and everybody else. I love Chicago. I would never take a dump on Chicago. I love it. It's one of my favorite cities to be in, certainly May through October. The winter's a little brutal, but I love Chicago. It's great. But that's okay. If you want to, whatever, take a shot at other people's cities, you do you. Hey, that's cool.
That's what I do, baby. That's what I do.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Just stay in your little corner. If you've got a push-off poster against Brian Russell there in the back, just let me know.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I did, though. I had a great time. I've been in Cleveland a long time, and I've never really had a chance to really get to know the city. And the company that I work for up in LA, Good Karma Brands, they have a radio station right in the flats. And I mean, like right in the middle of all the bars and the restaurants and looking at the river and the bridges. Cleveland is a much nicer looking city than people really know. And I had a great time. I was really surprised. Friday night, I got off the air and I was walking through that Cleveland Flats area. Man, the music was pumping. The bars were filled. The restaurants were alive. People were kind of trying to take advantage of any last few days or weeks of summer. The river had boats on it all up and down. I loved it. I thought Cleveland was great.
Yeah, no. You hit the sweet spot weather-wise. It gets a little ugly at the end of October. It gets brutal, but the people are very nice. They've done a nice job down there in the flats. They really took care of one side of it. The other side, a little shady, but the one side's nice. And yeah, I mean, listen, people love their sports there. So the fact that the Guardians have been killing it is great. The Donovan Mitchell trade for the Cavs was an enormous step for that franchise. And the Browns, until a minute 55 to go, really had it cooking to a 2-0 start. And then we went.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny you say that because I can see over your right shoulder, you have a Jets helmet.
Yes.
What's going on?
I do.
There?
Well, so I do one of the new shows I've started. It's called The Football Show with Chris Rose and CJ Uzama, who, of course, is the tight end for the New York Jets. So that's the reason I have that there. The next time we do the show, I'm sure he will. We had a nice little wager. I will be taking him out to the restaurant of his choice in New York City coming up. Even though he was not active for the game, he had a bad hamstring. I still owe him that. And man, I was this close to ordering off the menu from, some good place in New York City.
Chris, so just real quick before we talk baseball. So there's a minute 55 to go in this Browns-Jets game. I'm sitting there in the stadium. I've never been to the stadium before. Fans are great. Everybody's wearing orange. I have on a ridiculous amount of Browns merch. I got on a Browns ball cap. I got on an orange T-shirt. I mean, I am fully decorated like I'm a lifelong Browns fan. A minute 55 to go. Jets don't have any timeouts. I look over to my buddy and I go, well, what are they going to do? Like just run the ball and run the clock out? Because they can't win the game unless they score quickly, get an onside kick, score again, and then kick the PAT because Cleveland's kicker just missed the PAT. But there's no way that's going to happen. There's just no chance. But everything did happen.
Yes.
The quick score, the onside kick, another touchdown, kick the PAT. And I was reading a stat that it's like the first time in 2,300 games and 21 years that a team has come back in those circumstances and won the game. And the last time it happened to the Cleveland Browns.
Our
Incredible.
guys, yeah. Well, let's not overestimate the pain. It was 2,229 consecutive games, guys.
Oh, thank you.
And yes, it happened in 2001 against the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
It was painful. It was very, very painful because actually the minute that Corey Davis scored on that 66-yard pass, I turned to my buddy Alex Maloney, who coordinating producer on Sundays of the shows that I work on, Game Day Highlights and Game Day Final on NFL Network, and I said, we're going to lose the game. And Alex is this really nice, level-headed guy from the Bay Area who's in his mid-30s, and he goes, don't do that to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, watch, Alex. We're going to lose the game. And sure enough, the onside kick went. We've had immense problems recovering onside kicks in the last few years. The ones we have recovered have been dramatic. So I don't know what to say. The problem is that I've seen so many very difficult losses, everything from John Elway marching 98 yards against us at a game at in person as a 15-year-old Browns fan, to the season opener of the 2002 season, I believe, when Dwayne Rudd threw his helmet against Kansas City on the last play of the game. He was so excited he thought that we had sacked their quarterback. But instead, they threw it to an offensive lineman behind the line of scrimmage, who then ran 30 yards, and then they tacked on another 15, even though the clock read triple zeros because it can't end on a defensive penalty. And Morton Anderson kicked the game winner. And so I have seen absolutely crazy finishes in Cleveland. So this isn't even the worst one I've seen.
Wow. Chris Rose is here. We got a lot we want to get to with Chris Rose. Yeah, listen, the post-game show on NFL Network, I didn't see it this past weekend, excuse me. But the week before, are you and Maurice Jones-Drew, is he your regular now, like Sunday night?
Yeah, that started last season, and MJD also does the Rams on radio.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So there's certain times, like this weekend, they play at Arizona. They've got a late game. He won't get back in time. So I think D'Angelo Hall will fill his seat. But that's pretty much the combo. I like both those. Both guys
too.
are great.
And I guess my point is that in week one, I walked away going, gosh, I really like Chris and MJD together. Listen, you guys have worked together for a year now, right? But still, I love the chemistry. I love the post-game show. I love all the highlights. And what I really, really love is that you're not just like doing straight highlight calls. You're infusing a lot of your personality, which I'm a fan. So I really like it. I think the post-game show on the NFL Network is great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, it's a lot of fun. People love their highlights. Even if they've watched the games all day, you've probably only seen 60% of all the plays that we're going to end up showing you. So we know highlights of the stars, but you got to have fun with it. I mean, it's still, at the end of the day, it's freaking sports. Let's not take ourselves too seriously here.
Unfortunately, Chris, we'll transition into the Padres. I'll just tell you the last part of my Cleveland adventure, because it started on Saturday. My son plays for a small college in West Virginia called West Liberty University. They were playing at Notre Dame College in Euclid, Ohio.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, man, I have so much respect and appreciation and admiration for the players and the coaches at the Division II level, because, man, it is like high school football. I mean, bus trips. And I was telling the guys that the coach from the team, West Liberty, when the game was over and they were all disappointed, they lost, they gave up the game. Notre Dame College scored 2 defensive touchdowns. It was kind of crazy. But the coach was like taking food out of the Chick-fil-A catering truck and delivering it to the players. I mean, it's you're not playing at Alabama and you're not playing at big Notre Dame. You're playing at these little schools, but a lot of passion, and these kids just want to continue their careers. So I got nothing but respect for them. And then after the Browns game, my buddy Alex Van Pelt, who's their offensive coordinator, he puts on like a big tailgate party for the players afterwards. And when the Jets kicked that extra point, I said to my buddy, I go, well, there goes our post-game tailgate. Because when we got to the parking lot, Alex was like, we ain't unpacking anything. We're just going to sit here, wait for the traffic to subside, and then we're getting out of here. And all we did was just go back to his house, and we had our post-game kind of bitch session at his house, you know?
Yes. I want to be very careful with where I go with all of this. I understand why we didn't party up. I'll leave it at that.
All right, Chris. The Padres are all of a sudden on a 4-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
3 against Arizona. Okay, not that big of a deal, although they lost the first game to Arizona, got shut out by another guy making his major league debut. And a lot of us, myself included, guilty, start to go into panic mode, but they win 3 straight against Arizona. And then last night against St. Louis, they win that game. So what do you make of where the Padres are today with 14 games to go?
I think it's remarkable they are where they are, considering they've gotten very little from Juan Soto. I can't believe it that he has gone into a tailspin like this. I didn't think that he had that in him. I think they're fine. I think they're in a fine spot, right? I mean, sure, in a perfect world, they would have been significantly better and would have competed for that 4 seed because they weren't going to catch the Dodgers this year. Nobody's going to catch the Dodgers during the regular season. So at best, they could have been the 4 seed and had that first round of the playoffs in their place. Well, guess what? There's no shame in the fact that they're not going to catch that either, because the Mets or the Braves will have that 4 seed. And it's very possible both those teams are going to win 100 games. So with all of the trials and tribulations that the Padres have dealt with this year, everything from a crappy offense to the Tatis situation, to some of their pitchers either not being healthy or not pitching up to standard, to their bullpen imploding, to trading for the guy who's been the best closer in baseball the last 3 years but hasn't figured it out here. Everything being said, they're going to be the 5 or the 6 seed, and they're going to play either St. Louis or they're going to play the Braves or the Mets. Now, I'd obviously much rather play St. Louis because I don't want to deal with. I think Atlanta's unbelievable. I think they're going to be a real handful. And the Mets, with those top 2 guys in a 3-game series, if you have to face them, that ain't easy either. But with all that being said, I think the Padres are in an okay situation. I feel decent about them.
I think because our lineups come. I think because the lineups coming around. Because what you talked about with Soto, we talked about it here exhaustingly about the downturn that he had went into. With the series against Arizona, he seems to have come out of it. A good game last night, hoping that continues. If this lineup starts to fire at the way that we know that it can, facing those teams doesn't now seem like such a large task because of the lineup, the everyday lineup that we can present. Now, the Mets, I agree that pitching that the Mets have, yikes. But again, with the everyday bats that we have against St. Louis, against Atlanta, I'm not going into any of these series going, we don't have a shot.
Well, then you don't watch the Atlanta Braves very closely.
I don't.
Because
I ain't scared of the Braves.
Okay. Great. They're scary. They are a scary team. They are, if you have to go a 3-game series against Max Fried and Spencer Strider, it might not be DeGrom and Scherzer in terms of the pedigree and the accolades. That is ferocious. Those 2 guys are beasts. So, yeah, listen, it's a 3-game series. It's so weird, right? Because for years now, for a decade almost, it's been the 1-game play-in. Mm-hmm. And as we said, anything can happen. Well, now it's much more, it's a baseball series. That's basically what we play, our 3-game series. Except that now you got to line up your pitching, and hopefully the Padres will be able to clinch where they can have Darvish going in game 1, because he's really been good lately. Mm-hmm. And he is a guy that can match those guys pitch for pitch. To me, the worry is when you get past the 6th inning for the Padres, like how are we bridging the gap, presumably to Josh Hader when you get to October? I would think that he's got to be the guy at the end and just say, screw it. We traded for him. We're going to live and die. So I don't know if the Padres bullpen has enough to compete with some of these other teams.
Because right now it's Nick Martinez in the 8th and Hader in the 9th. So from 6 to 7 is where I have the same issue that you have. I'm like, what do we do? So that's a very fair point.
And at the same time, Atlanta last year had a lot of guys that were not proven to eventually get the ball to Will Smith, who was, if you were to ask Braves fans before the playoffs started, what's your biggest concern? Everybody would have said Will Smith in the 9th inning. even though he had a really solid career to that point. Well, last year, I don't think he gave up a run in the playoffs. And then there were guys like Tyler Matzik who came out of nowhere, and AJ Minter who did things. So people, just because it doesn't happen during the regular season doesn't mean it can't happen in October. It just means that guys have to sometimes play out of their league and do things that we don't see coming. That's what makes this sport fun.
Chris Rose is here.
Is it as weird for you to talk about the Padres in this context as it is for us? And what I mean by that is, can you believe the Padres are actually in this?
No.
You know, we talked about this yesterday. 2010, besides 2020, was the last time the Padres had a winning record.
Yeah,
and it's just like,
no.
As a fan base, I think it's just so weird because now all of a sudden our fan base is talking about, well, we'd rather be the 6th seed than Can we just get in? Can we just get in? Let's just get in.
I know, but that's the fun part about fans is that you're like, okay, well, I really want us to like lose today, and I want to have Philly win and all that. But that's the fun part because you're trying to figure out, well, how can we make this party last as long as it does? I understand the trepidation because you haven't been there in a regular season, going down to the wire since 2010. But this team is good enough. There's certainly flaws with the team and with the organization, but they're fun to watch, man. And the shame of it all is fans nationally won't get a chance to see Petco rock because it is on par with Yankee Stadium in terms of like the lights flickering and the fun atmosphere and it being the only game in town. Like that sort of stuff is fun. And baseball fans, for the most part, even though we all live in California, they're not watching Padres games at night.
Right.
Most people aren't. So they're not staying up till 1 a.m. on the East Coast trying to see what Manny Machado is going to do in the 9th inning. That ain't it. So for them to that's the only shame of it all. So hopefully they can win a series and get the divisional round back here because I think that would be fun.
All right, Chris Rose is here. You can see, for those of you that are watching on YouTube and watching on television, the Chris Rose Rotation Podcast. He's got the jersey hanging right behind him, and you can follow Chris on Twitter at Chris Rose. You just said something really, I think, important, which is that while the East Coast people don't stay up to watch the Padres, we West Coast people, at least in my opinion, I'm underexposed to the Mets and the Braves in particular. So I'm just curious. I think I have this foregone conclusion that the Dodgers are going to represent the National League. But for somebody who watches baseball a lot closer than I do, which team in the National League poses the biggest threat to the Dodgers?
The Braves. Even if they don't win the division, they are the biggest threat. Their lineup is awesome. They have locked up these guys, and they're going to do what the Dodgers have done for the last decade, and that is make the playoffs every year. I mean, they are handing out big contracts to young players before they hit free agency, right? Austin Riley got a $200+ million deal. Michael Harris, who came up at the end of May, I believe, and has steadied things in center field, both defensively and offensively, got an 8-year, $72 million deal. The guy's played 2.5, 3 months in the major leagues, and he pocketed a $72 million deal. But I credit Alex Anthopoulos, the GM of that team, because he's like, screw it. We identify young talent. We're going to take a chance. What's $72 million guaranteed? That guy could end up making $300 million by that time after 8 years. So, you know, they're doing a lot of things right. As I said, Fried has been amazingly consistent. Spencer Strider just set a freaking record. He broke Randy Johnson's single season record, the fewest innings to get to 200 strikeouts in a season. He got there in 130 innings.
Wow.
He didn't become a part of their rotation almost June. And when you're breaking Randy Johnson's records, you're okay in my book.
Do you think you're going to start seeing a lot of that across baseball, guys being signed really early because it's clearly the better way to go to save money?
I mean, if I'm a GM, I don't know why you wouldn't do it, right? I mean, you dangle a carrot in front of guys that have barely played. Now, is there risk involved for the organization? Of course. We've seen plenty of guys come up here and have great 3 or 4 month stints, and then they just go, you know, Scott Kingery's a guy who, for the Phillies,
or crash motorcycles.
You're right. But there's never been a talent question at Tatis, right? When he's been out here, he has delivered. But there's a guy, Scott Kingery, for the Phillies, who I think they gave like a $24-25 million deal to. Maybe had played like a week in baseball or something. And I don't even know where he is now.
Right.
He's in the minor leagues somewhere. So, but at the end of the day, you're talking about $25 million for an organization amortized over several years. Like, yeah, we'll take that chance that we miss on a few guys, because if you hit on an Ozzy Albies with a $30 million deal or a Ronald Acuna for $130 million, you're saving yourself literally hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know why more teams aren't doing it.
Chris Rose is here. Hey, Chris, we got literally 30 seconds. Browns, Steelers, Thursday night. Who wins?
I mean, I have to say the Browns, or else I'll never be let back in that town. We'll see what here's the deal. The Steelers are going through some issues because they're not playing the quarterback of the future yet. Whenever that happens, then we'll see what the Steelers are about. Yeah. If the Browns really think that they can make a dent before Deshaun Watson comes back in week 13, they have to have this game. And they've got some bodies banged up, and they have to get over the mental hurdle of blowing a lead that we hadn't seen in 21 years. If they can do that, you're going to get a lot more people believing in them.
Chris Rose, always amazing on Kaplan and Crew. We got a lot more we're going to get to coming right back to the 7 Mile Casino Studios. Stick around, everybody, and thank you, Chris Rose.
Hunger is a year-round problem. The San Diego Food Bank and our North County Food Bank chapter provide food assistance at locations throughout the county. We need your help. Host a food drive, volunteer, or donate online. Thank you for making a difference.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Rome comes home. Yes, I said it. You can now catch the Jim Rome Show Monday through Friday, noon until 3 p.m. on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio. Back to San Diego, where it all started, on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Your View honors Hispanic Heritage Month.
The 2022 San Diego Loyal season continues. Live on Your View and YourView.com. Watch your San Diego Loyal take on Las Vegas Lights FC, Saturday, September 24th at 7 p.m. Support the San Diego Loyal as they continue their bid for the 2022 USL Championship. Las Vegas Lights FC versus the San Diego Loyal, Saturday at 7 on Your View.
Your View honors Hispanic Heritage Month.
Listen to The Mike Greenberg Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Greeny brings his unmatched depth of sports knowledge, fun, and entertainment back to ESPN on a daily basis. The Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and themightier1090.com.
Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
Let's go ahead and take a look at your San Diego Padres baseball updates. The Padres got a big all-around win against the Cardinals on Tuesday night. Mike Clevenger got the win on the mound, going 5 2/3 innings, allowing no runs, 3 hits with 3 strikeouts. Nick Martinez earned the hold, going 1 1/3 inning, while Tim Hill and Luis Garcia each pitched 1 inning, holding off the Cards. Ha-Seong Kim hit his 10th home run of the year off of Adam Wainwright in the 4th inning. Jake Cronenworth, Manny Machado, and Juan Soto all had RBI. Soto went 2 for 3 on the night with a walk and a run scored in the 5-0 win. The Padres will play 2 more against the Cardinals before taking on the Rockies in Colorado this weekend. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by Your View. You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the Mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Hunger is a year-round problem. The San Diego Food Bank and our North County Food Bank chapter provide food assistance at locations throughout the county. We need your help. Host a food drive, volunteer, or donate online. Thank you for making a difference.
San Diego Varicose Vein Treatment Center, we take care of all various needs of patients for management of their venous insufficiency. People who come here are mainly concerned about symptoms that brings them on or issues related to cosmetic concern that we can always take care of. Now with the advancement of technology and so many catheter-based treatments, we can treat our patients much more quickly, much more comfortably with less downtime. Patients love the result invariably.
It's been a huge impact in my life to feel better, to be able to power walk again. Overall, I'm just feeling like I used to feel when I was a lot younger, and I'm so grateful for this place.
It's a privilege to take care of our patients. It comes from the heart, and I love it.
PNC Bank specializes in a full suite of financial services from retail banking to mortgage to corporate banking. So while PNC Bank is a full-service financial institution, we view ourselves more than that, and that really is how we care and give back to our community.
Surf Soccer has been around for over 30 years. We're based here in San Diego, but we are the premier national youth sports brand in soccer. Our mission is to create experiences and opportunities for kids, but we also do it through our events where we really help kids chase their dreams.
There are a lot of kids in San Diego that have incredible levels of talent, but they can't afford to play on a team like Surf. And so a lot of our sponsorship dollars go back into scholarships.
PNC is literally one of the only people we've ever allowed to be in here as a sponsor because we know how committed they truly are to the community and how committed they truly are to kids.
We continue to look forward to investing back into youth, arts, and especially the military here. I mean, San Diego is a military town, and we are giant supporters of the men and women that fight for our freedom.
My name is Alejandro Eugenio Guido Perez. I play for the San Diego Loyal, and I'm a midfielder. Midfielder kind of does a little bit of everything. Attacks, defends, it helps organizes the press to win the ball back, and then defend in the low block, and then attack and create opportunities for the forwards to score and yourself. I started at a young age playing soccer. I did it here in Chula Vista, but I also played in Tijuana, Mexico. It's definitely been restorative to be back home and be at a club, such a great club that values the person, not just the player. I've been able to grow tremendously on and off the field and be taken care of by the family that's around me and supporting me.
So Southwestern College, the name of the mariachi is Mariachi Garibaldi, is the performing group that we have. We've actually had as many as 4 different ensembles, so 4 different classes, beginning, intermediate, advanced. And the advanced group is outstanding. We got that associate's degree in music with a mariachi specialization approved in 2004. And that was the first in the world anywhere. It's not a degree in mariachi music, it's a degree in music with a specialization in mariachi.
The ensemble is great. I mean, it ranges anywhere from 30 to 50, sometimes 60 members every semester. It's fantastic.
The NFL lives here. If it's about the NFL, you found the right station. Join 1090 every Sunday during the NFL season for the exclusive SoCal home of not 1, but 2 NFL games every Sunday during the season on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
Hunger is a year-round problem. The San Diego Food Bank and our North County Food Bank chapter provide food assistance at locations throughout the county. We need your help. Host a food drive, volunteer, or donate online. Thank you for making a difference.
Home of Guiding Hands helps San Diego community in that we're a resource for families. A lot of times when families first identify that their child, their loved one, might have an intellectual or developmental disabilities, they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. And we're here to help guide people through that process, to show them what a thriving life their loved one can have. It's a passion I share, having a daughter with a disability.
I really love the place that I live at. Because of Home of Guiding Hands, I was able to move out of my parents' house and into a beautiful home that I love living in. And so if you have an independent living service coordinator, they will help you learn more about being independent, and they help guide you through different things. They've helped me with lots of encouragement and love. They've also given me an ILS worker who is an amazing person, and I love her so much. She's great. I could tell you the first, I think, week or so, I wasn't feeling very confident in myself. The first couple of nights I was like, oh, this is scary. But I look back on it now and I'm like, this is so easy.
Main Street Living celebrates diverse abilities in partnership with Home of Guiding Hands, supporting the special needs community for over 55 years.
for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Sometimes you want to